You're on mute again.
Now call our meeting to order. We begin today by acknowledging that the land on which we gather is the traditional territory of the Woolastoq-Wee. These territories are covered by treaties of peace and friendship of the Woolastoq-Wee people first signed with the British Crown in 1725. Attendance has been taken. Approval of the agenda.
Bob Powell.
Madam Chair, I bring a motion to postpone the meeting for 2 weeks at the same time, same location,
And that date would be, is that the date of our,
2 weeks from today.
would be our
Which is
council?
what takes that.
If I may, Madam Chair, it would be in order for you, Madam Chair, to Director Corey. In setting this meeting, we had to take these meetings into and schedules into account. And the optimal time on that, and would only be a 2-day difference, Director Corey, would be to go with June the 4th, which is our regular scheduled board meeting. And that way it doesn't interfere with other communities and their meetings that would be happening at that same time. So it wasn't that this was just the one night, that it was the one night that worked, is why we ended up here. So
Yeah, I'm trying to make the motion June the 4th with the regular meeting time.
I'll second that, David Nicholson.
Hey, now we have to go around the table and have the vote.
You have to ask for the question.
Question, any discussion?
Can you have the motion read out, please?
He wants to. Go ahead.
Yes.
Read the motion.
Read the motion, please.
On motion by Richard Porter, seconded by David Duplessis, that the board requests to postpone the meeting to June the 4th and to discuss this package on the Aquatic Center.
Okay, any discussion? How about we go around the table and we'll start with you, Director Biglock. Make sure everyone gets.
Great, thank you, Madam Chair. I just know from sitting on the infrastructure committee, the amount of work that committee has done, and many members here on it as well as others. It's been tireless for a long period of time now. We've got 10 infrastructure committee meetings, numerous reports to the board, I believe 6. Been going on for close to 18 months. So I implore everyone, if you need extra time, take the extra time. The last report that went out was 127 pages of analysis to this board. It's a great deal of time of the members that has been spent on this for this board. It's a great deal of time of the staff that has been spent on this for this board. It's a great deal of time with the consultants that have been spent on this for this board. And there's costs coming along with that to our communities that this represents, because our communities fund these initiatives. So I fully encourage people to take the time necessary to do this, to put the time into it and come up with reasonable decisions and discussions around this item. But if we are to bring this discussion to light, discuss it openly, I want to do it with everybody with full information in their hands. So I encourage you all to look at the information that's in front of you. We are here for this region. We have fiduciary responsibility to the Capital Region Service Commission. We sit here as voting members of this board for the prosperity of the region. And my belief is rising tide floats all boats. I have a great deal of respect for everybody on this and around this table. We have a lot more in common than we don't have in common. We have a lot going for us, but we are working towards the prosperity of the region. To use another boat analogy, I encourage everyone to think, when paddling this boat, to put the paddle in the water. I don't care what direction you move that paddle, but don't put that paddle in the boat and not use it. use your voice, use your agency representing the communities that you represent and this board that you have fiduciary responsible for, and pick what's best for the region. It's very important. I know from my perspective here for Arcadia, I'd like to thank Fredericton as a member of this board for giving us the opportunity to possibly have an aquatic center for the region. We would not have it without a larger community, such as Fredericton or Muckner for some sense. It makes us prosper. It helps us prosper. So keep that in your mind. But on the flip side of that, Fredericton receives something for us. We have lakes, we have beautiful vistas, we have rivers, we have farms, we have agriculture, we have forestry that they do not have in Fredericton. So it's a give and take. I really encourage people to be very deliberate in where they stand on these items. And regional collaboration is very, very top of mind to myself, and I feel very passionate about it. And one of the reasons I am saying it. Thanks.
Thank you. Next.
Is that a yes?
Is that
or
a yes
no?
or no?
Oh, I didn't say it.
Yeah,
No.
no?
No, we're just doing the discussion.
Oh,
We're doing the discussion, then I'll come back with the question.
everybody knows how I'm gonna vote. If it wasn't clear.
This is the discussion.
Well,
Yeah. I said I'll go around the table. Comments, Director Shaw?
So we're just having comments of the whole idea?
Yes.
No, just to
No,
postpone.
Just to
postpone.
Well,
But it's
that was a
hard to
big-
put the
that was a-
context.
That was a big spiel. So you said yes or no? You said no then?
We're not
voting.
We're not
Okay,
voting.
well, what are we voting now? if it's-
Okay,
Yeah, okay,
I
Mike.
think we need
Okay.
clarification.
Yes, please.
Okay, the motion was put on the floor. Now we come to the discussion. So we will go around the table, everyone will get one chance at a discussion, then I will come to the question, and then we will vote.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Chair. I feel that if somebody is not sure or they need more information, that I would go along with it and vote yes.
Okay, next, Dr.
Same line in that situation.
Thank you.
So-
Dr. Rogers?
I'm always in agreement that when people need more time to ponder, that they should have that time. However, thinking on this is we've had lots of time. I know I called a special meeting of my council so that we could discuss things to accommodate, knowing that this meeting was coming up. We've had notice that this meeting was coming. We've had opportunities to reach out to our council and talk to it. I think that people. My fear is that there's a desire to defer because we're making a commitment to something big by doing this. And it's for some communities, it's new. This level of commitment is very new. And not in maybe an easy undertaking. I don't foresee it being any easier a week from now. I guess that's my thinking. And I'm not wanting to be difficult. I'm more of I think we need to rip the Band-Aid off because frankly, these decisions that we're making tonight, as big as they might feel, they're nothing compared to the level of decisions that we need to make if there is a commitment to moving forward with the Regional Aquatic Center. There are some really big decisions that need to be made and we can't take this amount of time. Hours that have been spent at that Regional Infrastructure Committee meeting, they're hours that we're never going to get back. And anybody who sat in that committee knows that there were moments of frustration. It took us a long time to get to decisions that really shouldn't have taken that long. But it was because it's new avenue, it's new path. This is new for some folks. It's not easy. We're having to speak on behalf of our residents that we think might want one thing, but on behalf of a region that might really benefit from something else. Like this isn't easy work, and I'm not implying that it is, but it doesn't get any easier having more time. Sometimes you just talk yourself around things. But I think people knew before we started gathering all this information where their community was going to stand on a regional aquatic center. And I believe that we just need to make a decision and move forward. I would prefer to make a decision tonight, and then if we feel we want to meet next week, let's talk about how it is we're going to start lobbying at provincial and federal government and getting some money for the project. So I struggle, like I say, I always want people to have the time that they need. I think we've had so much time. We've probably had too much time and taken too much time to come to this level of the decision making because there's harder decisions yet to be made. So that's why I'm struggling. We're here tonight. I battled that Fredericton traffic to get here tonight. And I'm gonna battle it again next Tuesday night. So that's where I'll leave it.
Thank you. You might just want to slide that name tag down a bit.
Oh.
Since we know who those two are.
Especially when it comes to traffic.
So Director Nicklin, do you have comments?
My council has met twice, in special meetings about this, and I'm fully, I believe the question is, am I ready to vote, tonight with the information that's been sent to me and have discussion, and I am. So, that's what I'll be, but if others are not, then they should vote their way, but as far as, am I prepared? I'm prepared.
Thank you. Director Corey?
Yeah, my motion wasn't about being unprepared to vote. I don't have any lack of knowledge or information about what's in the report, and I don't think my council does at this point in time either. My purpose for postponing is to drive public discourse about the issue, so that 14 people aren't sitting around a table making a major decision for thousands and thousands of others without them even knowing about it. So that was my point, and that will be my point. And well, that's the knowledge is, and I would say that there are issues even in the committee report with all of the work being done that need to be considered, but we can talk about that later.
Thank you. Dr. Morrison?
Thank you, Madam Chair. With all the information that's been in there and all the time it's supposed to into coming out of time to arrive at the decision, I feel quite comfortable and the council feels quite comfortable in having the knowledge they have to make a decision. So I'm certainly prepared tonight to make a decision.
Thank you. Director Sweeney?
I feel the same way.
Director Duplessis?
As vice chair of the infrastructure committee, yes, we spent multiple hours on this. There's no doubt about it. In saying that, I feel I have more information than some of the other mayors here because I've been privileged to be on that committee with all meetings. And I think when there's an ask for more time to deal with this, I appreciate that and I support the people that need more time, whether I do or not. I feel I have to support the people that are not ready. So
Thank you.
that's my comment.
Thank you. Director Hayward?
If I may, Madam Chair, can you expand on some of the information you might have that might not have already been released?
Can't do that during this.
Our discussion needs to be on the question and the discussion of the information that exists. Really not material to that, it's in your package.
It's the same. Why can't we just say that? Like, come on. You have all the information we would discuss. Right? I'm sorry, Tom, but at some point, a quick answer to a question that
It's the discussion that we're
has.
having at the board.
Yeah,
that we need.
I don't foresee any extension changing the outcome or the views on it at this point in time. I can respect anyone asking for more time to defer. However, I don't see personally the value in extending it for my own mind.
Thank you. And now we'll go to the screen. Director Faulkner.
Yeah, if anybody, like, people need more time, I have no problem with that. I'd be fine with that. Either way.
Thank you. Director Forsythe.
I'm on the committee. I went to all the meetings and passed on to our people, but I believe that we just got a book at our last meeting with a lot of information that people have to look at and go through. So if they need more time, I have absolutely no problem with letting them have more time to delve into it. So they make the decision that they think they should make.
Thank you. Kelly, did I get everybody on the screen? Is Tim Fox?
No.
Director Fox?
Yeah, I have nothing to add at this point.
Thank you. So did I get everybody now? So now we'll go to the question. Ready for the question?
Question.
So should we go around the table individually?
Sure.
Okay,
All right, so, a motion to postpone, yes or no, Richard Corey?
No,
No here.
I said no.
He said it on postpone.
Set the motion.
Citric, I heard somewhere else.
You can't make a
Can I not do
motion.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't do it. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Judy Washington,
yes.
David Hayward,
No.
Dale Mallory,
No.
Kate Rogers. No. David Sweeney,
No.
Dave Morrison,
No.
Tim Fox,
Yes.
Derek Cleveland,
No.
Bob Howell,
Yes.
David Quissy,
Yes.
Marty Forsythe,
Yes.
Kevin Nicklin,
No.
and Len Kaufman.
Yes.
Six in favor, so that leaves.
Motion defeated?
Defeated.
Okay, motion's defeated. So we'll carry on. Are there any conflict of interest for disclosure this evening? We'll go to the committee reports, Regional Infrastructure Committee, Director, please, Rob, please.
Okay. Now, I do. Regional Infrastructure Committee report.
I can't hear.
Motion to approve the agenda.
We didn't.
No, we didn't.
There's no motion, no
I'll
agenda.
go back to approve the agenda.
Gotta go back and approve the agenda.
Okay, so I need approval of the agenda, thanks.
Bob Powell, Aramato.
Second by,
Second.
any discussion? Ready for the question?
Aye.
All those in favor?
Alright,
Any opposed? Motion carried. Now we'll move on to the committee reports, Regional Infrastructure Committee. Director Fleetwood, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We had a regional infrastructure committee on May 9th, board dated May 23rd. It's called to order at 12 p.m. Meeting, continuation of meeting on April 15th, 2024, in which a consensus on regionality and cost sharing principles were agreed on. This meeting was focused on ownership, operations and maintenance and governance of a proposed regional aquatic center. The goal was to have recommendations for a special meeting of the board on May 23rd, 2024, which is this evening. To stimulate the discussion, there was a presentation from Jim Tech on potential options for the above mentioned factors around the proposed aquatic center. Each option contained 3 points of consideration. For example, should ownership of the regional aquatic center rest with Capital Region Service Commission or a nonprofit to be established by the CRSC and held collectively or by the host community? For governance, the options were the CRC Infrastructure Committee with an established subcommittee containing subject matter experts, a separate committee, or the host committee. For operations and maintenance, the options present with CRC outsourced to a third party or provided through the host community. Consensus was reached on governance. There was a discussion around a separate committee being created to provide governance over the aquatic center. This committee could be comprised of members of the CRC Infrastructure Committee, the host community, subject matter experts, and any other contributors this committee deems appropriate. This committee could potentially report to the CRC Infrastructure Committee or directly to the board, similar to the tourism and economic development models that currently. There was consensus that maintenance be undertaken by the host community. Model must included the CRSC, a not-for-profit held collectively, or the host community. The infrastructure committee was on CRC and host community ownership and did not arrive at a recommendation. Discussions were held around what will happen when the proposed aquatic center is decommissioned at its end of life and contractual considerations that may need to be reviewed. Recognition that the has experience in operating large-scale operations such as regional solid waste landfill operations. A final topic was a value for each community until the end of life of the project. This is a difficult forecast as there are many economic factors that need to be considered. That is inflation, regional economy, regional growth, possible issues with the assets, to name a few. At this point, all estimates are uncertain, and the asset development will depend on securing federal and provincial partnerships. Our meeting adjourned at 1:25. With that, I move that the Capital Regional Service Commission receive the report of the Regional Infrastructure Committee dated May 9th, 2024.
I'll second that, David.
Any discussion? Ready for the question? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
So to carry on, the committee agreed to forward the following motions to the board for its consideration and discussion. Based on the consensus of various factors from the March 26th, 27th, April 15th, and May 9th, 2024 meetings, the Infrastructure Committee recommends the following motions.
Point of order. Madam Chair, the terms of reference for the Capital Region Service Commission Infrastructure Committee do not provide for decision-making authority. The mandate responsibility statement states that their work will be in accordance with the Regional Service Delivery Act and regulation. The reporting structure states the committee will be accountable to the Capital Region Service Commission Board of Directors. In the accepted accountability of any committee of the board to provide the board with all information and options, and the accepted accountability is of any committee of the board to provide the board with all information and options and not withhold information from the board. In the case of the choice to eliminate both the option for following the legislated model of cost sharing, and for not providing the board with the opportunity to designate the facility as sub-regional, means that all of the motions on the table tonight are out of order. Those decisions belong to the board, not to a committee. The appropriate order of motions would be to vote on regional or sub-regional designation first, then on the legislated formula for cost sharing, and if needed, on the other motions. To do otherwise is to manipulate the vote by withholding options and creating winners and losers. While the outcomes can be the same, the correct process allows for better debate and an entirely different outcome. This report must be returned to the committee and submitted and resubmitted to provide the board with the opportunity to rule on legislated and optional models. While what is at risk at this table tonight is not a swimming pool for the city, but the future of regional collaboration. To fail now with our first major initiative speaks to our weaknesses, not our strength. The weakness is the thin edge of the wedge that many of us feared in the creation of the commissions. The fear that we were creating a new level of government and diminishing the role of small municipalities. Madam Chair, I respectfully await your reply.
Hey, I'm gonna need comments from them. No, I haven't been in this situation before, but thank you, Director Ford. How do
Thank
we
you, Madam
proceed with
Chair.
this?
Well, I'll refer back to the act in terms of that, or I'm sitting here and I'm looking at the New Brunswick Regulation 2012-109, the Regional Service Delivery Act, or under the Regional Service Delivery Act, and it says the regional infrastructure report of the committee. The committee shall be responsible for the preparation of a list of all sport, recreation, and cultural infrastructure in the region that the committee considers to be subject to subsection 341 of the Act. The committee shall, from the list referred to in subsection 1, establish a list of infrastructure that considers to be regional in nature based on the following criteria. The ease and that goes through, I'll read it out, the ease of access to the infrastructure by the residents of the region, the uniqueness of the infrastructure of the region, in the region, the scale and variety of sport, recreation, and cultural activities that the infrastructure may accommodate compared to other infrastructure in the region. The number of groups and associations from within and outside the region that use the infrastructure on a regular basis, and the impact of the infrastructure in the region, including whether it benefits its population as a whole. then it goes in and says in terms of the committee shall present a report in 18.3.4, the commission shall include list the infrastructure under subsection 1, the list of infrastructure prepared in accordance with the subsection 2 of the committee considers regional in nature, which has all been done. A detailed description of the infrastructure set out in the list under subsection 2, a detailed explanation of the reasons for the committee's decision to include the infrastructure set out in referred subsection 2, proposal for apportionment of costs attributable to the infrastructure is set out in the list under subsection 2, and an estimate of the financial impact the proposed apportionment will have on each member of commission. And regional infrastructure assessment is on to talk about the board shall consider the report submitted to it by the committee under section 18.3, shall vote on matters set out in paragraphs 9.1 A, B, C of the Act. And despite any resolution of the board adopted under section 1, no cost shall be attributed to infrastructure shall be subject to apportionment unless, and then continues on, the commission agrees that the infrastructure is regional and that the infrastructure is regional infrastructure. The ownership, the infrastructure, or the person ownership has designated agrees that the committee shall be responsible for oversight of the infrastructure. Provides a detailed financial operational report, the infrastructure, including assessment issues. Apportionment, and then it goes on to apportionment of cost for purposes of subsection 19.2 of the Act. In the absence of a resolution of the board, the cost attributable to the regional infrastructure shall be apportioned as follows: 50% based on the tax base of the local government or rural district of the previous year, 50% of the cost based on population, local government of the rural district. And we talked about the regional strategy and the implementation plans, of which this was all prepared for back in June 28th. I think everybody was at the meeting. We had an announcement that day led by our chair, Minister Green, and MP Atwin. And it was announced at that time that there would be a cost sharing mechanism to commence with the architectural and design phase of the center. So I think with all due respect, Director Corey, I believe that the committee was struck under the legislation. We've identification. We did the preparation of the report. That we will do a preparation of the report for the minister, and then the minister will, has some time to review and reflect on that. Overall, I think in terms of looking at the apportionment of cost, we talk about different things in the Act, and we talk about if a commission determines that under subsection 2 that any of its members shall contribute to the cost attributed to any sport, culture, recreation, or cultural infrastructure, the costs related to the infrastructure shall be apportioned among any or all of its members by resolution of the board, or if no resolution has been made in accordance with the guidelines. And then it goes on to 19.3. Despite subsection 2, if the minister orders the commission under subsection 3, 4, or 5B, require any or all of its members to contribute to the cost attributable to the infrastructure among any or all of its members, those costs shall be apportioned in accordance with the regulation. So
might I say this?
I didn't
telling the board that something is going to happen is not asking the board what should happen. Okay, so announcing something is irrelevant, totally. In the Act, it still states you can apportion the cost in two ways. Those options, nor the sub-regional, the issue of regional, sub-regional, have never been put before this board. They were decided by committee. And that's my point of order, is that had they brought those, I'm certain they would have been defeated. But I would have appreciated, and we all would have, dialogue that we would have entered into, instead of someone deciding that Kevin's going to pay 2,200 and I'm going to pay 42,000. Without my input is why I raised it. I have one item that I'd like to read back to you from the minutes of the committee. These are the minutes of March the 5th. Oh, yes. This is a report on March the 5th from February 27th. The chair opened the floor to discussions on topics that were left open-ended from the visioning session. This was a discussion on whether the regional aquatic center will be regional or sub-regional. There is more to explore, but there was consensus that the asset is regional to a certain extent. With that being said, there must be consideration in the cost-sharing formula to ensure fairness. That comment tells me that you're dealing with two separate items in the legislation as one, and you did not bring those questions to the board. That's my point of order.
I speak.
Yes.
I believe in following the process, that is what the first motion on the table tonight will be, determining whether it will be regional.
That's why I'm making my point of order now, to
Yes,
stop that motion. Because we're not having the option saying regional or sub-regional. You've only presented us with, is this a regional facility or no facility, right?
Okay, anything further?
I would say that was our mandate according to the act.
If I'm right, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Director Corey's point of order is not really debatable by the board. It's a point of order raised to you on which you can rule either for him or against him. If he is unsatisfied with your ruling, he has the option to have it polled to the rest of the directors where collectively they will decide in favor of or against the point of order. And as I understand it, the point of order deals with the regional versus sub-regional possibility for the pool. The fact that a motion didn't come with alternatives and supporting rationale, and the same on the formula. Cost sharing, if I summarize that correctly. So that's for you to rule on, for or against, and then based on that ruling, there are a number of things that could flow from that.
Okay,
If I may, Madam Chair,
yes.
I just want to be clear that in the establishment in the Regional Service Delivery Act under section 18.2.1, it says that each commission shall establish by bylaw a standing committee on sport, recreation, and culture. We did that. The committee shall consist of persons determined by the commission, but a minimum shall include. And we met all the criteria of that is there. And in 18.2.3, it says something, the committee shall have a mandate to review planning documents for the region, to prepare a list of infrastructure to the attention of the board. I'm paraphrasing a little bit of this.
Please don't.
Okay,
Please don't.
sorry, Director Corey. To prepare a list of infrastructure for which the attention of the board in accordance with section 18.3, which we have read, to determine the area served by the infrastructure in the region, to ensure the management of cost apportionment agreements for the regional infrastructure. In carrying out its mandate in 18.2.4, the committee shall consult with employees of the commission and Department of Local Governance Reform, may consult with any other expert advisor. Then under regional infrastructure report of the committee shall be responsible for the preparation of the list of all sport, recreational, and cultural infrastructure in the region that the committee considers to be subject to subsection 314 of the Act. The committee shall, from the list referred in subsection, establish the list the infrastructure considers. It goes on to talk about that. And then it goes into what will happen if it is not considered and go to the minister. But
So I'm still not hearing that it's the decision and authority of the committee to make those decisions.
Madam Chair, through you to the Director Corey, it is the mandate of the committee to bring forward the recommendations.
Yes, I understand.
And
that
that's
completely.
all the committee has done to my assessment.
So once again, in my point of order, I'm saying in error, bringing forward their information, there's a gap in the information. And there's a gap in the motions that I believe chair can rule as they wish, that I believe should have included the motions, the other two motions first, so that the board would have had the right to determine whether it's regional or sub-region. Then the right to determine whether we all pay the big numbers and save the city the money, or whether we go to some kind of a cost-sharing model that's different than that. Those most likely would have been voted down. I don't question about that. But the debate would have been healthy for regional collaboration.
Okay, so I am going to roll, and I thank you, Director Corey, for bringing that up, the point of order. And I am willing to vote in favor of your point of order, but however, I would like to call on my directors around the table to get their feedback too. And I can do that. No,
You either have to accept or reject the point of order that was raised.
I want to be fair about this. If you accept my point of order, we're going home. Well,
Can I ask?
tonight.
yeah, in Director. So
Point of order is not debatable.
okay, so I accept this point of order.
Just gonna ask a question. I don't understand. I'm genuinely confused. The first and the second speak specifically to what Director Corey's questions were about. One is determining whether or not it's
However-
regional. The other.
However, with respect, the adjudicator of that is the chair and only the chair. So if she has said that she accepts that point of order,
Yes,
then the board cannot entertain this motion.
and I said I accept it, and I do accept the point of order.
Can we
If a
ask
director-
based on what? Can we ask based on what it, that it's because
No,
No, it's
the
not.
chair does not have to provide a wholesome description. Members do have the right to challenge the ruling of the chair. And so all it needs to say is the member says, Madam Chair, or challenge your ruling. Then all directors will vote. And we may have the same outcome, or we may have a different outcome.
I challenge the ruling.
There you go.
Okay, now we do a vote, right?
That's correct.
So Kelly, please. So yes, if you're in favor of the point of order.
Can you just make it a little bit more clear so we don't want to vote?
Oh, absolutely, yes. The point of order was raised by Director Corey. And if you say yes, you're in favor of the point of order. And if you say no, then flush.
are we able to speak to why we're challenging the ruling?
John, we're not allowed to speak now on it.
We're
but-
allowed to speak to why we're challenging the rulings.
Or I have.
Well, the why doesn't matter. Right? You're challenging, you're challenging because you think the chair made a mistake.
I know, but I think we should be able to explain to our colleagues why we think it's a mistake.
So are we allowed to do that or
Yeah,
just vote
sure.
for the vote?
Sure.
Okay, when it comes your turn, vote. Okay,
So, to accept or
Madam Chair,
yes,
could you explain what the yes or no is? So
yes, the yes is if you're in favor of the point of order that Director Corey laid out.
Okay.
And the no is you go against.
Okay.
Derek Lee?
If I say no, can I talk too?
Sure. No,
Okay.
should be able to.
I'm going to. So, just with respect to this, first of all, I am going to say no. And the reason why I'm saying no is that I feel the mandate given to the infrastructure committee.
Excuse me, Madam Chair.
Yes,
I do have to interject. Point of order, the vote is not debatable.
okay, so yes or no?
Yes, no.
Challenging, you told us that we had the opportunity then, so this is part two of that. Are we not able to articulate why we're challenging the
No.
decision of the chair?
Okay. No, just to vote.
It's not debatable.
Well, she's made her decision on the point of order, so we didn't debate her, we're not debating her authority to make the decision. We're just challenging it.
Yeah, so I don't know how to otherwise say a point of order is not debatable. it's the home base that we keep circling.
And
So
it's
it's
why I
yes or
told
no?
point of order.
Yes, okay.
Okay, let's get on with the other.
Thank you, Don, staff member, for clarifying that. It's either yes or no. There's no debate, no discussion. So Kelly, would you please do the, round the table and collect the votes for me, please?
So that was a no from Director Pleadwell. So, David Duplessis,
Yes.
Kevin Nicolin,
Yes.
Dave Morrison,
Yes.
Richard Corey,
Yes.
Tim Fox,
Yes.
David Sweeney,
Yes.
Bob Powell,
Yes.
David Hayward,
Yes.
Len Falconer,
Yes,
Dale Mowry,
Yes.
Judy Wilson Shi,
Yes.
Kate Rogers,
No,
and Marty Forsyth.
Yes.
Yes.
So the motion is carried.
Point of order is carried, Madam Chair.
Point of order is
And
carried.
the motion is deferred, at best deferred.
may I ask a question on what just occurred, please? Or does it need to happen after a meeting? Like
Yeah, I can explain it.
because I would just like to say what I heard. Yes, the point of order, the chair has the authority to make that decision without debate. That was clear. You were clear. She makes her decision without debate. We then challenged her decision. And I don't know where it says that when a board challenges a chair's decision, that they're not able to discuss that. That is what I question, not the point of order, because
Right.
that ruling was correct.
Fair point.
Fair point, thank you. And now the vote has been had and we weren't able to discuss it.
Well,
I feel that rules are sometimes made on the fly here, and it's to the disadvantage of this organization. We've spent a lot of time on nitpicky little things, and when big issues come into question, we are not given the opportunity to speak to it.
Madam
Because
Chair.
rules, we're told certain rules exist when no one's aware of these rules.
I disagree with that, and I know I'm gonna have to go home and read up on my book, but that's why I have a staff member here and a staff member here, and they direct me and they've never led me astray.
Well,
So, Madam Chair,
Madam
if I-
Chair, he just told you that
Madam Chair, if I
my
might.
point is correct.
Yes, please.
You know, it's hard to speak over a point. And my point and my approach is to make sure that things are done properly. This is not of frequent occurrence. We could perhaps benefit from a 5-minute recess and get clarity on this point. And then we can come back. And if indeed members are allowed to debate, then we can do that. Don't shake your head.
No, I'm saying don't bother, let's not bother doing that.
Yeah, but
Not-
it's
that's
not up to you. It's up to the chair.
No, but I think it was pretty clear, only 2 people voted against it, I don't know.
It was all just voted on.
Okay,
Vote's been taken.
yes, so we will move on and, so. there's no
That
more-
should have been offered before the vote, that we take the recess, that was my point. If we were unsure of the rules about whether or not we could discuss, we should have taken a recess to find that out before we were able to unequivocally know.
Okay. I hear what you're saying, and as staff members have told me, that this doesn't happen at every meeting. So I will have to brush up on that too, but I do depend on my two staff members to direct me, and they've never led me astray, never. So we're gonna leave it at that. And so then we just go to the adjournment?
Yep.
Okay,
No, Madam Chair, there are other motions.
so that was just for the first motion.
That's correct.
Okay, so that's deferred. Okay, the next motion. Director Pleadwell, please.
I don't know, yeah, because the order that it was presented, it presumes that the first motion is regionality. Are we, I have a question, I have to
Yes,
question staff, are we able to discuss cost sharing without discussing regionality? That was because this was the thought of the committee, we had to determine what came first, the chicken or egg. Is it regional to discuss cost sharing? So can I even put a motion without?
No, but we need to discuss that. We've got an agenda, we have to go through it.
Okay,
Otherwise, we don't deal with our agenda. I suspect if you make the motion, a point of order will be raised, we'll repeat the process until we get to
You
adjournment. But
can be sure.
in that case, we'll have been dealt with.
So should I read the regionality one? Because I never got a chance to read it.
No, that was.
No.
yeah,
No.
that section
That was the
wasn't
point
that.
of order.
Oh, but I didn't read it. I didn't get a chance to make it.
I couldn't let you, that's the way it works.
How can I make a motion on cost sharing?
We can. But.
So these,
So, Lee, well, I think what needs to happen is you need to start to read your motion.
okay. I move,
Point of order, that this motion is out of order because of the previous motion being out of order.
I move,
With point of order is on the table now.
okay.
And yes, I'll support your
It's up to you.
Point of order.
I'm done, you can rule as you.
Yeah. No, I am prepared to support your point of order.
I gotta move again. I move.
You can try.
Next one would go to,
Well, all I can say is I move.
Just second. Director
on the,
Kleber.
do we not vote on?
No, only if it's challenged by.
Only if it's challenged.
Okay. So I ruled in favor of the point of order for the cost sharing.
That was the first one, regionality, wasn't it?
No,
No,
second.
just- it's the second
The
one.
first one was deferred.
Okay, I move.
Point of order, same issue, they're out of order.
And I have to agree in your favor. So if nobody challenges me, then we move on.
Challenge.
You're challenging me? Okay. So then we have to go for a vote.
That's correct.
Okay, would you take a vote, please? And it's yes, if you're in favor of the point of order, and no, if you're not.
Very good. I don't know if this is a different sheet or not, but, Derek Kudlow,
No.
David Duplessis,
Yes.
Kevin Nicklin,
Yes.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
Richard Corey,
Yes.
Tim Fox,
Yes.
David Sweeney.
Yes.
Bob Powell,
Yes.
Dave Hayward,
Yes.
Len Faulkner,
Yes,
Dale Mowry,
Yes.
Judy Wilson She,
Yes.
Kate Rogers.
No.
And Marty Forsythe.
Yes,
Okay. So that point of order is accepted, correct?
That's right. We've exhausted the agenda now.
Exhausted it now, so we don't move any further. So,
I'm sorry.
Maintenance and operation.
I have two
I'm
more.
sorry, maintenance and operation.
okay. Dr. Kleber?
Well, governance next, right? And then.
No, we did governance.
Not everyone knows that.
Oh, okay. I move.
Point of order. Same issue, out of order, we don't have the other information from the other motions to work with.
I vote in favor of your point of order, so is anyone going to challenge me?
I challenge that.
Okay, then we'll have to go through a vote. Kelly, please. Okay,
Are we on the last one now? It doesn't make it.
last one.
Bob Powell,
Yes.
Marty Forsythe,
yes,
Len Falconer,
yes,
Kate Rogers,
No.
Dale Mowry,
Yes.
Judy Wilson She,
Yes.
Tim Fox,
Yes.
David Sweeney,
Yes.
Kevin Nicklin,
Yes.
Dave Morrison,
Yes.
David Duplessis,
Yes.
Richard Corey,
Yes.
David Hayward,
Yes.
and Derek Kudlow.
No.
Okay. So that one, point of order has been carried, and, we have to go to the ownership. We'll do that.
I
with
think we're on maintenance and operation.
Pardon me?
It's all forward done.
All four. Oh, okay. Okay. So I come back now and adjourn the meeting.
Motion to adjourn, Dave Morrison.
Second by,
Marty Forsythe,
I have more motions here, right?
We only have 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 motions.
If I missed.
6. Well, we did maintenance and operations, so
Then we have ownership, and then we have
ownership.
a direction to staff.
Well, that would only. that direction.
So,
No malice intended.
no,
Not with
no.
mine, so I move,
Point of order. The motion's out of order because of the lack of information on the other motions.
Okay, and then that is for the ownership fund, right?
It's
I agree with your point of order. Is anyone going to, challenge me? Yes, okay, so now we go through the vote.
Eric Pridwell,
no,
David Blitzen,
Yes.
Kevin Nicholas,
Yes.
Dave Morrison.
Yes.
Richard Corey,
Yes.
Tim Fox,
Yes.
Hayden Sweeney,
Yes.
Bob Powell,
Yes.
David Hayward,
Yes.
Glenn Falconer,
Yes,
Dale Mowry,
Yes.
Judy Wilson She,
Yes.
Kate Rogers,
No,
and Marty Forsythe.
Yes.
Okay,
may I ask a- oh, may I ask a question? Oh, there's one more?
The direction is that.
Directions of staff.
Oh, right.
okay, your last one?
what doesn't say, the staff of the regional.
Point of order. Again, we do not have sufficient information based on the other motions to continue.
Okay, I accept your point of order and I agree with it. Is anyone going to challenge me? No? Okay, we have the point of order. That was it for all the motions, correct? Now I can go to adjournment.
Well, can I ask a question first? Just to, may I ask a question for clarification?
Yes.
So I have no idea what will be determined as to how we proceed with this, but I'm genuinely curious and I'm not doing it, I'm not challenging anyone. I'm genuinely curious. My reading of these motions was very much that whether it was regional or sub-regional could be established in the first motion and the second motion did cost sharing. I'm not looking to the date. I'm just saying, I don't know how clearly this is going to come back to the Regional Infrastructure Committee to try to figure out how to reframe this. And I don't, to me, these motions were so clear that they were providing an opportunity as a board for us to have a discussion on regional or sub-regional, and the second motion was about cost sharing. So I don't know how it is that our committee has to take what happened tonight and reframe our motions to meet what was being asked of in the point of order, because to me, it was clear that these were discussion points. I mean, you have to get a discussion on the floor, a motion has to be made. You could have come forward and said, I don't agree. I don't think it's a regional. Like there was opportunity to get to where you wanted to get in those motions.
So
Director Corey?
in my questions to staff and in my own research, a motion can be modified somewhat, but for me, asking the motion to be changed from regional to sub-regional tonight would have been eliminating the motion. That's not appropriate in any kind of a model. It isn't changing the wording or the timing or the implementation. It's putting another motion in place of that motion. That's the same with the cost sharing. Two cost sharing models were not presented. A cost sharing model was presented. Then the information for those that wish to look was available for the legislated cost sharing model, but it was not presented by the committee. In fact, where the committee erred was assuming a decision at their level instead of clarifying, saying, okay, these are the issues, these are the options. All I'm asking is that you step back, you return to the board, and you return to the board with the fullest of information and options that you can put before this board. Not a restricted model. That's what my point of order was, and that's where I stand. The way to do it.
Because there were many.
Oh, yes, okay, the second, yes.
I'm quite clear on where we move from here, being on the infrastructure committee. The motions were limited, and I don't think they should have been. I didn't understand that as being on the infrastructure committee when we put these together. I now see that that is not correct. there needs to be other options to go with these motions, and I respect that. I'm willing to go back to the infrastructure committee, which I'm on, and redo these so that there's more than one directed option or alternative here. I'm very clear on that, very.
Thank you. Okay. Anybody on the screen that has any comments with this before we adjourn? Marty?
Well, I agree with what he just said. It makes sense. And I'm on the infrastructure committee.
So why was this never mentioned at all the infrastructure committee meetings that we've had? Why has no one said this? Because I don't know about all of you. I don't have hours to give to this work in addition to all of our other work.
Director David,
In my opinion, it was an oversight. I mean, I think Chair Director Pleadwell, I think he will admit it's an oversight. Me as Vice Chair, I see it as an oversight. I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry we wasted time, but now we got to go back and do what we should have done a meeting or two ago. It's just the way it is. That's all I have to say.
we all make mistakes, but when we make mistakes, we learn from them too, and we have to move forward in a positive manner.
I have to say that, look, we did talk about the fact that we should come, in fact, I recall saying to the staff, should we not bring a motion to the board determining if it's regional or sub-regional first? We were told very clearly, we can't make that decision until we come up with a cost sharing formula that we think that everyone will agree with. So the committees in some way did take, we were working together as a group. We took recommendations from the staff. There was a decision made at a committee level that it would be short-sighted for us to come forward and say regional over sub-regional without also bringing forward a cost-sharing formula we thought everyone would be comfortable with. There was so much discussion about how it was that this should be brought to the board. It was not brought lightly. I thought we were very thorough. We did take the advice of staff. And so this was what came forward. We're now, and we've got ourselves in a time crunch also, which was raised on very frequently at committee meetings. We're coming down to the wire. There's a deadline, and we were assured by staff there was lots of time. And now you're telling us we have to go back to the drawing board, bring back other recommendations. Needs to be another vote. And we have what, until the end of June to let the province know. So I just feel that a lot of time was spent, a decision, we went in a certain direction. We could have gotten to where the board wants to get with by working with existing motions as opposed to having to go back to the drawing board. We all work with our councils on motions coming in the affirmative, either amendments being made to them. If fulsome discussion is allowed, you can get to amendments, you can change motions, you can defeat motions and make another motion. There were lots of ways that we could have done this work tonight when we have all dedicated this evening to coming and doing this work. So
I just like to make one statement. We're all saying the end of June. And I'm sure if we wrote the minister, we could get extension on that so we don't have to rush through it. I know coming up in June, most of the directors are going to be away. We're going to be at the FCM. We can work around that. But it's not the end of the day if we don't have it done by the end of June. I think if we send a letter off or make a phone call, I'm sure that we could get an extension.
Madam Chair, time spent here for me is time not in my community, and my time is very valuable. So this will be a meeting called very quickly to have this dealt with. I mean, it's clear what our task is. If it wasn't clear around this board table, then I think I've heard enough tonight to understand what and put to the committee and have us understand what needs to be in here so we can get to a decision quickly enough. So again, don't put your paddle in the boat. Put it in the water. Don't care what direction it is.
So just one.
Yes.
So we have passed no motions this evening.
No.
So any discussion by directors related to this subject is not compromised under our code of conduct. So in other words, there's no motion, there's been no, so if directors wish to have discussions with anyone about this subject, it's quite all right to do that.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes, absolutely. So no further comments?
Can I,
Yes,
I come a long way for these meetings.
yes,
And if we knew this was gonna end up in this fashion beforehand, and my council, I asked them to reach out to my staff and let them know that this is a potential issue, so that we all don't waste our time and effort. And just to others' points, you know, my council has met twice now on this matter. And now I've drove all the way in here for an hour and met again on a matter, and we're not getting anywhere. And so if in the future, can we not reach out to staff and say, hey, I think that's a point of order issue, and then the staff research it, so we're not coming here to waste our time? Maybe we can't, maybe that's a point of order incorrectly. But I'd really rather not do that again, to be quite honest.
and myself personally as the chair, I would like to be well prepared
All right,
for a meeting like that. Absolutely,
okay,
yes.
thanks.
Madam Chair, through you to the directors, I think, you know, in terms of this, okay, we, as you had said, so eloquently said, we'll learn a lesson for this. But I do want to say and thank the committee for the work to get here today. There's been a lot of hard work. There's been a lot of decisions, a lot of contemplation. We had great conversations that were led by our consultants that helped us work on this to develop the options and models moving forward. In terms of, as Director Corey said, there's no malice meant in any of all of this. I think that we have to go away with that and understand it, come back together as a team and embrace what comes forward. If there was a misinterpretation of the act or the terms of reference or the guidelines, then that falls on me as your employee. But at the same time, we felt that we had a good product to move forward. So I just want to say that to everyone, and that you know, the thing is, building a region. I think I mentioned this to one of the directors earlier today. It's kind of like getting the Brady Bunch together, you know, we're all kind of getting there, when someday we're all going to get along and get in the wagon and go in the same direction, and things will be good. But I do want to thank everyone for their time this evening and their thought and their consideration. And these are learning opportunities and experiences. And when we come back, we'll certainly ensure, I wasn't expecting that, so we'll certainly ensure that, you know, that we are compliant and complicit with everything that we have to be. We'll move forward. Thank you.
Okay, so I did call for an adjournment, and I think you adjourned, and I'll second the second. Okay, meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Are we done recording? I'm from me being cranky.